What's it like when your childhood sweetheart tries to set you up with a girlfriend? I was a world-class simp. On my way to simp for my childhood sweetheart Willow, I caught her making out passionately with the school bad boy, Makoto. Furious, she knocked over the meal I had brought for her and snapped through gritted teeth. "You damn simp, can you stop following me around all the time?" I replied. "No, my devotion to you is as clear as the sun and moon." She completely lost it. "Get lost. I'll introduce you to my best friend. Can you please obsess over someone else instead?" Tears welled up in my eyes with excitement. I stammered. You mean that best friend of yours who's 5'7", has a stunning figure, porcelain skin, a beauty mark on the right side of her chest, a tiny waist, long legs, and a killer peach-shaped figure." The moment the words left my mouth, a silver bell-like laugh sounded behind me. The woman's exquisite features were breathtaking. "Dummy, you might as well just say my name." My face instantly turned red. Willow's face instantly turned black. Chapter 1. Willow, my childhood sweetheart, had been in a car accident. She was hemorrhaging badly. The hospital found me through the emergency contact saved in her phone. The red light above the operating room glared harshly. I was completely exhausted. Drenched in sweat, a traffic jam had forced me to sprint 2 kilometers to the hospital, pushing my body past its limit. Leaning against the wall, I gasped for air. Just then, a nurse rushed out. "We're running low on type B blood. Is there any family member here with the same blood type?" Willow's parents were still on their way, and I happened to be type B. The needle was thick and long, gleaming coldly under the lights, but I didn't even flinch. I told the nurse to take as much as she needed. Chapter 2. Willow woke up on the second day after surgery. Before visiting her, I went out of my way to clean myself up so she wouldn't notice how pale and sickly I looked after donating blood. My own devotion almost moved me. I was about to push open the hospital room door when I heard voices from inside. A girl was saying, "I heard your childhood sweetheart donated quite a bit of blood for your surgery. He's been chasing after you for years. Doesn't that mean you should marry him now?" I held my breath. The hand resting on the doorknob slowly withdrew as I nervously waited for Willow's answer. The next second, "Oh, give me a break." Willow's voice was full of disgust. "George and I grew up together. I've always seen him as a brother. We're not actually siblings, but we're basically family. Now that we literally have the same blood running through our veins, dating him would feel like incest. It's honestly gross. Besides, he's such a people pleaser. The guy's a total simp. He's always trying to make everyone happy. If we actually got together, he'd drive me crazy. And honestly, I'm the kind of person who loses interest fast when it comes to relationships. If he just wanted something casual, maybe I'd give him a shot. But he's way too serious about it. And that's exactly why I'd have to think twice." I clenched my teeth so hard that I tasted blood. Willow loved having fun and had dated countless boyfriends. Every time, she made me promise not to tell her parents. I never understood why. Whenever I asked, she would cling to my arm and pout. "It's just for fun. If I ever got to the point of introducing someone to my parents, I'd rather it be you. Gio, I already know everything about you." She was gorgeous. Beautiful face, incredible body. A few sweet promises were all it took to keep me lying comfortably at rock bottom in the simp zone, always hoping for the day the simp would finally win. But reality was that Willow felt disgusted by the blood we now shared. The rage in my head slowly cooled. I glanced around, looking for something I could use as a weapon, maybe a fire extinguisher or something. Unexpectedly, a scream suddenly came from inside the room. "Ayaha, Anna, have you lost your mind?" Chapter 3. I poked my head out from behind the doorframe, looking extremely sneaky, and what I saw was Willow getting her hair yanked while another girl repeatedly smacked her upside the head. "Stop treating him like a brother. How about you start treating him like a human being first, you shameless jerk?" The one doing the slapping was Willow's roommate. They had always been pretty close. She had delicate, innocent-looking features, but somehow they came together to create a wild, untamed kind of beauty. And right now, she was actually standing up for me. I had no idea why, but the contrast between her sweet, well-behaved appearance and that fierce, fiery side of her was absolutely captivating. My heart started pounding. I lowered my gaze to the inside of my forearm. The spot where the needle had gone in was swollen. Purple, blue, and yellow bruises blended together in an ugly patch. Willow had no idea. Sure, being a people-pleaser meant I was prone to simping. But the moment the person I was simping for lost their value, I'd find someone else to devote myself to. My eyes drifted away from Willow and locked firmly onto her roommate. Chapter 4. Come to think of it, the reason I'd always put Willow on a pedestal came from the day we first met. Both of my parents were doctors. They were always busy. The worst incident happened when I was 10 years old. They accidentally left me locked inside the car, in the middle of a brutal summer heat wave. The doors were locked, the windows were shut. Just as I thought I was about to suffocate to death, a hammer smashed through the window. It was Willow who spotted me first. She called her parents over to help. I still remember her anxious little face hovering above me. She grabbed my hand and gently shook it before carefully handing me a bottle of water. Like rain after a long drought, I snatched the bottle and gulped it down desperately. Only then did the terrifying feeling of suffocation finally fade. With her still childish face full of curiosity, she looked up at her parents and asked, "Mom, Dad, since I saved him, is he going to marry me when we grow up?" Willow's father looked speechless. "Honey, what kind of TV dramas have you been letting her watch?" Maybe that was the exact moment I started seeing Willow through rose-colored glasses. Later, when my parents brought me over to thank them, I learned that Willow's family had just moved in next door, and as it turned out, our situations were surprisingly similar. My parents spent most of the year overseas attending medical conferences. Willow's parents were constantly traveling for business. One time, afraid she'd make a fuss, her parents secretly took a late-night flight without telling her, but she still woke up in the middle of the night. A thunderstorm was raging outside. Terrified by the thunder, she hid beside her bed and called her parents while crying, but phones had to be turned off on the plane. So a while later, Willow climbed across the connected balcony between our apartments and knocked on my balcony door. When I saw her tear-streaked face, I immediately pulled her inside. There, stop crying. Aren't I here with you, childhood sweethearts? With our parents constantly absent, we grew accustomed to having each other. So I stayed by her side for 10 years, chased after her for 10 years, until today's speech about how sharing blood with me made her feel disgusted. Chapter 5. The hospital room door swung fully open. Light spilled into the hallway, pulling me out of my memories. I immediately turned my head and faced away. A faint scent of fresh jasmine drifted through the air. By the time I snapped back to reality, Willow's roommate was already walking away. Judging by her stride, she was still furious. I hurried after her. I'd once heard that no matter how strong a lion is, it still relies on its pride. Even the mightiest cedar grows from soil enriched by fallen leaves, but a tree grows from decayed leaves because that's nature's cycle. And animals stay with weaker members of their kind because they share the same fate. A leader doesn't fail because nobody follows him. A leader fails when he can't tell who genuinely wants what's best for him and who is simply using him. The moment you place your trust in the wrong person, everyone around you either stays silent or tells you what you want to hear. Eventually, you can't even hear the truth anymore. How could I not carefully think about the implications of that? Willow was rotten to the core. Staying devoted to someone like her only turned my affection into a joke, a laughingstock for everyone to mock. But Willow's roommate, now she seemed like someone who actually understood right from wrong. Chapter 6. I found Anna downstairs by a vending machine. The machine seemed to be malfunctioning. I walked over and gave it 2 solid punches. A can of soda immediately dropped out. I picked it up and handed it to her. She looked at me, surprise flickering in her eyes. When she reached out to take it, I tightened my grip. The can froze between us. With complete confidence, I declared, "You like me." Anna couldn't help laughing. Only then did I let go, and the can dropped into her hand. She glanced down at the soda, then looked back up at me with curiosity. "What makes you say that?" A confident smile tugged at my lips. "You stood up for me and you smiled at me, so you definitely like me." My gaze landed on the scrape on her wrist. She narrowed her eyes. "So you heard everything?" This woman kept dodging my question, eager to move on from one crush and chase another. I decided to be direct. "Miss, you've successfully caught my attention. I want you to be my girlfriend. You don't have to be perfect when I pursue you. All you have to do is respond." Anna raised an eyebrow and leaned casually against the vending machine, studying me with narrowed eyes. "You want me?" She really knew where to pause a sentence. My heart instantly stirred. Anna let out an amused sigh. The smile on her lips was downright dangerous. "What is this? Planning to kidnap a nice girl off the street?" With her long legs, she pushed herself away from the vending machine and started walking. I hurried after her. "Wait, don't go. You still haven't answered my question. Do you like?" The next second, she suddenly stopped and turned around. I almost crashed into her. The distance between us vanished. Her voice was low, teasing, and utterly captivating. She was standing so close that I caught the scent of jasmine again. Then she said, "Buddy, clear your heart out first before you try flirting with another girl." I opened my mouth to respond, but Anna had already climbed into a taxi. The window was still down. Her delicate profile, her beautiful eyes, the casual way she tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. She was seducing me. Damn it. Now I wanted her even more. Ever since middle school, I'd known there was something wrong with me. The kinder someone was to me, the more I wanted to devote myself to them. The more I did for them, the fuller and happier I felt inside. My therapist once summed it up perfectly. You really do have a problem. Chapter 7. That night, sleep refused to come. I found myself thinking back to the days when Willow and I practically grew up together. Back then, my family was close with the Liu family. When my parents had to move away for work for an extended period, They simply left me in the care of Willow's family. Her parents were genuinely wonderful people. They even connected our neighboring rooms by installing a small window between them. I was on one side. Willow was on the other. When we were in middle school, Willow would push open the window, rest her chin on the frame, and whine sweetly. "Gio, I can't sleep. Tell me a bedtime story." When we got to college, she'd lean against the same window frame with her chin resting in one hand and say, "Gio, I know you're so good to me because you like me, but I'm not ready for a relationship yet, and I don't want to lose you. Can you just stay the way you are now? When I'm finally ready, you'll be the first person I consider." Then one night, everything changed. I'd fallen asleep wearing headphones. At some point, they slipped off. A series of intimate sounds woke me up. Willow was video calling one of her boyfriends. The two of them were flirting shamelessly through the screen, doing things that were far beyond innocent. Well, it seemed she'd been very busy getting herself ready after all. Chapter 8. Willow Lou was being discharged from the hospital. That was what Aunt Lou told me. She happened to be suffering from a headache and asked me to help Willow pack her things. The next second, a text from Willow popped up on my phone. As bossy as ever, she ordered, "George, come to the hospital and pack my stuff." For Aunt Lou's sake, I went. When I arrived, Willow was sitting on the hospital bed with her injured leg propped up, binge-watching short dramas on her phone. Hearing me enter, she didn't even bother looking up. "You're here." I couldn't be bothered wasting words on her. I gave a perfunctory response and started packing her clothes. Suddenly, an open box of condoms fell onto the floor. Hearing the noise, Willow glanced over before casually chuckling. "Oh, my boyfriend stopped by earlier." Over the past few days, her rich kid boyfriend Makoto had often been absent during the daytime. It wasn't hard to imagine what the two of them had been doing in this VIP hospital room. They sure knew how to have fun. But now, I felt absolutely nothing. Like an emotionless NPC, I was merely completing the side quest Aunt Lou had assigned me. Once everything was packed, I slowly walked over to Willow and peeled an apple for her. I learned that trick from Willow herself. After all, when she'd begged me to introduce her to Makoto back then, she'd worn the exact same flattering smile. Chapter 9. I asked, "Willow, are you and Anna pretty close?" Something flashed across Willow's face as if she had recalled the conversation from the other day. Guilt. She pushed the apple away and avoided the topic. "The corner of my mouth hurts. I can't bite into it." Only then did I notice the injury. The corner of her lip was split open and covered with a scab. I nodded in understanding. "Oh." I sat down, then asked again. "Anna's pretty hard to pursue, isn't she?" Anna. Seeing that I genuinely seemed unaffected, Willow's tone lightened. She gave a small snort. "Yeah, she's actually pretty difficult. Such a gorgeous woman, and she's still single. Sometimes I wonder if she hates men." Then she looked at me suspiciously. "Why do you keep asking about her?" I quickly cut the apple into slices and said eagerly, "Help introduce me to her. I like her. If Willow played matchmaker, I'd find someone I liked, and she'd have one less headache to worry about. A win-win situation." I really was a genius, but Willow froze. Then, as if throwing a tantrum, she swept all the apple slices into the trash. Pointing at the wound on her lip, she glared at me. "George, are you blind? Anna is the one who hit me. You never came to visit me once after my surgery, and now you have time to worry about another woman. Do I need to remind you? In the past, you'd panic whenever I got hurt. You'd immediately run for medicine and help treat my injuries. And now, look at what you're doing." For some reason, Willow suddenly started keeping score of how differently I treated her. Yet she had always been the one who despised my concern the most. Sometimes she even found it annoying. I shrugged and answered honestly, "Because I genuinely don't feel any urge to care about you right now, Willow." I had never spoken to her so coldly before. The aloof smile in Willow's eyes froze. The fake curve at the corner of her lips slowly faded. After a while, she smiled again. Her gaze drifted toward the box of condoms before returning to me. She looked completely convinced she'd figured everything out. With a smug little snort, she said, "George, you're jealous. Using another woman to get back at me won't work, because I've always seen you as a brother. Although, when Makoto and I break up, I suppose I could give you a chance." Willow kept smiling as she looked at me. There was unmistakable pride hidden in that smile. And suddenly, I remembered exactly where that pride came from. The day I confessed to Willow after graduating from high school, she had worn that same smile. Back then, she told me to hurry up and blow out the candles on my birthday cake. After I stupidly shared the cake with her, grinning like an idiot, she smiled and said, "But what should I do? I've always seen you as a brother." That day, my birthday stopped being a happy one. Childhood sweethearts know each other better than anyone, and because of that, they also know exactly how to hurt each other. Willow was trying the same trick again, trying to break me all over again. I let out a cold laugh and walked away without looking back. Idiot. Chapter 10. This was the first Cold War Willow and I had ever had, but I didn't have much time to think about it. Lately, my mind had been completely occupied with one thing: how to win Anna over. It got so bad that I kept spacing out during lunch. George, I'm counting on you for this afternoon's fitness test. My roommate pressed his palms together and looked at me pitifully across the cafeteria table. He had originally signed up as a volunteer for the fitness assessment this weekend. Unfortunately, it happened to fall on Valentine's Day. His long-distance girlfriend was finally coming to visit, so he begged me to take his place. The job was simple: count repetitions. I was assigned to the girls' sit-up station. What I didn't expect was that Anna would be there. My eyes instantly lit up. The sit-up test was mostly a formality anyway. The girls paired up, held each other's legs, counted repetitions, and then reported the numbers to me. People often inflated each other's scores a little. Nobody usually cared whether the results were completely accurate. After Anna finished her turn, the girl paired with her said excitedly, 30. That's great, Anna. We both passed. But the next second, Anna shook off the girl's hand and stared directly into her eyes. I was counting my own reps too. She continued calmly. I knew you might fail, so when you did 20, I reported 35 for you. So why is it that I did 40, and you only reported 30? How are you not embarrassed? The moment those words left her mouth, everyone's attention shifted toward them. Amid the growing whispers around them, the other girl exploded. What are you talking about? You only did 30. What benefit would I get from undercounting you? You're being ridiculous. Are you just upset because you did fewer than me? Anna simply smiled. Fine. If you're that confident, let's do it again. We'll see who actually did more. The girl froze for a second, then quickly recovered. After all, Anna had just finished a full set. Doing it again now clearly put her at a disadvantage. Sure, let's do it again. That way you can stop talking behind my back. Anna ignored her. Instead, she suddenly called out, George. Everyone immediately turned toward me. I looked up in confusion and met Anna's strikingly beautiful face. Then she added, how about this? Whatever number he counts, that's how many I'll do. What did that even mean? Completely baffled, I replied. Then, 40. By the time I fully understood what was going on, Anna was exhausted. Compared to the other girl's miserable score of fewer than 10 sit-ups, Anna had completely outclassed her. Feeling guilty, I instinctively handed Anna a bottle of water. Her cheeks were slightly flushed as she accepted it. Her eyes shifted briefly to the left. Then, all of a sudden, she relaxed and leaned against me. Her head came to rest on my shoulder. Somewhere in the distance, I vaguely heard someone call Willow's name. Before I could focus on it, Anna spoke. Her warm breath brushed against my ear. So tired. It's all your fault. She sounded almost playful. Honestly, she wasn't wrong. I had no idea the random number I'd thrown out would leave her completely drained. So I shamelessly took advantage of the opportunity. Then how about adding me on WeChat? I'll make it up to you. Anna didn't move away. Tilting her head slightly, she looked at me with amusement. Sure. She finally stepped back and pulled up her QR code. I scanned it immediately. Then I discovered something shocking. We were already friends. Not only that, I hadn't even bothered giving her a nickname. I stared at her in disbelief. The smile on her lips instantly became accusatory. She rolled her eyes, surprised. Back then, you added all the girls in our dorm so you could keep tabs on Willow. Her gaze dropped to my contact list. Then she said in a sarcastic tone, got it. Apparently nobody deserves a name except Willow. Back then, my entire world revolved around Willow. I genuinely hadn't paid attention to anyone else. I forced out an awkward grin and shook my head frantically. Crap, I'd completely blown it while trying to flirt with her. Chapter 11. That evening, Willow's mother called me. We agreed to meet at the school gate. I have no idea what that girl is busy with. I can't even get hold of her. As she complained about Willow, Aunt Lou stuffed a thermos of black chicken soup and a bag of medicine into my arms. George, dear, Willow just had surgery. Please help me keep an eye on her for a while. I put several medicinal herbs in the soup, but she's hated the smell ever since she was little. Make sure she drinks all of it for me. Okay. And she left her medicine at home. Could you bring that to her too? I nodded honestly. No problem, Auntie. But the moment she left, I collapsed onto a stone bench with a miserable expression and opened my chat with Willow. The entire conversation was basically my one-sided effort. I heard from your roommate that you caught a cold. Is it serious? The next message. If you're feeling bad, I can take leave and bring you to the hospital. And another. By the way, don't you still have that group project presentation left? I don't have classes this afternoon. As for Willow, not a single reply. And it had been a long time since I'd messaged her first. The last time we'd spoken was when Willow sent me a message in the middle of the night and immediately unsent it. I happened to be gaming at the time and was still awake. Out of habit, I'd typed a question mark into the chat box, but then I thought about it. If she'd unsent it, she'd probably sent it to the wrong person. There was no reason to look into it further. That was when I realized something. I no longer felt the urge to please Willow. Unexpectedly, the very next day, she sent me an angry voice message. "Looks like you've gotten bold, George. I saw you typing, and you still ignored my message." Apparently, she'd caught me during those few seconds when I was hesitating. Because of that, our relationship only got worse. We'd even started deliberately avoiding greeting each other whenever we met. Still, Aunt Lou had spent hours making that soup, and it smelled pretty good. I sighed and sent Willow a message. "Willow, can you come to the security office for a moment?" I waited a long time. No reply. So I had no choice but to go find her myself. As I passed the sports field, one of Willow's roommate friends recognized me. Seeing the things in my hands, she grinned knowingly. "Wow, bringing Willow stuff again. She should be on the rooftop right now." "Thanks." I waved and turned to leave, only to walk straight into someone. I nearly crashed into a girl. Anna lowered her eyes toward the things I was carrying. Then she let out a dry laugh and copied the roommate's tone perfectly. "Wow, bringing Willow stuff again." "No," I immediately explained with complete seriousness. "Willow's mom asked me to deliver it." After saying that, I kept walking. After all, fawning over your old crush in front of your new crush interest was pretty awkward. What I didn't notice was that behind me, Anna was already green with envy. Chapter 12. Willow. The moment I pushed open the rooftop door, someone let out a startled yelp. The next second, Willow threw herself into Makoto's arms, burying her face deep in his chest. Even her complaint came out muffled. "It's all your fault. You said nobody would come up here." As my eyes adjusted to the harsh sunlight flooding the rooftop, I finally took in the scene. A discarded rectangular table sat in the middle of the space. Makoto lounged lazily against its edge. One arm was wrapped around Willow's back, holding her tightly against him. When Willow realized it was me, she clicked her tongue in annoyance. "What now? Do you need something?" Her lips were smeared with lipstick. The evidence of an intense make-out session was impossible to miss. I stayed where I was and awkwardly said, "Willow, your mom made you some black chicken soup, and your medicine." Willow rolled her eyes. "Oh." Her tone was just as sarcastic as ever. She stepped out of Makoto's embrace and walked toward me, irritation written all over her face as she took the soup from my hands. I was about to leave when Makoto suddenly called after me with a grin. "Do you know what we were doing 1 second before you opened that door?" Expressionless, I looked at him and shook my head. "Heh." Makoto let out a mocking laugh, holding up a piece of white lace between his fingers. He said casually, "I was just unhooking her bra." I stared at him, then replied flatly, "Got it. I'll leave you two alone." But before I could turn away, Willow grabbed my sleeve. Her eyes were cold, like a snake watching its prey. Then, word by word, she said, "Enough. George, do you realize how annoying you're being? Seriously, how much longer are you going to keep chasing after me?" I waved my hand impatiently. "I'm not." "Oh, really? You're not? Then why are you here?" The more Willow spoke, the angrier she became. Suddenly, she hurled the ceramic soup container onto the ground. It shattered instantly. Glass and soup splashed everywhere. In her fury, she blurted out, "Just leave already. I'll introduce you to one of my girlfriends." "Okay, I'm begging you. Can you please go obsess over someone else for once?" I froze. Willow had a lot of friends. Which one was she talking about? After thinking for a moment, I cautiously asked, You mean that best friend of yours who's 5'7", has a stunning figure, porcelain skin, a beauty mark on the right side of her chest, a tiny waist, long legs, and a killer peach-shaped figure?" Without a pause or a stumble, I rattled it all off in one breath, exactly as Anna had described it. And that description, more accurate than a GPS, left both Willow and me speechless. The atmosphere instantly turned strange. Willow stared directly into my eyes. There was no resentment there, no disappointment, nothing but sincerity and anticipation. For some reason, her expression became even uglier. Then, from behind me, came the sound of bright, bell-like laughter. I turned around. A girl was standing in the doorway. Her delicate features were breathtaking. Her beautiful eyes locked onto mine as she smiled. Then she said, "Dummy, you might as well just say my name." Chapter 13. I immediately turned red. Holy crap, what are you doing here? If I hadn't come, I never would have known someone had studied my body so thoroughly. The warm glow of the setting sun highlighted Anna's delicate features. Hearing how familiar we sounded with each other, Willow's expression darkened. She glared at me. "Since when are you two so close? You were hugging all over each other on the sports field this morning. Seriously, isn't that disgusting? Seriously." She'd practically been getting undressed up here a minute ago, and she had the nerve to say that. Anna, however, slipped her arm through mine and smiled sweetly. "George is my boyfriend, so what's wrong with a little hug?" I was stunned, then immediately nodded like crazy. Had I actually succeeded? Wait, I hadn't even started simping yet. The two girls locked eyes across the distance. Anna wore a gentle smile. Not a single trace of hostility showed on her face. Meanwhile, Willow's lips tightened as though she were preparing for battle. Then my stomach growled. Anna gave me a little push. Come on, let's go eat something delicious. Chapter 14. Ignoring Willow's face, which looked dark enough to drip water, I hurried after Anna. Are you really willing to be my girlfriend? Behind me, Willow suddenly shouted. George, if you walk away today, there'll never be another chance for us. I turned around. Seeing that, Willow lifted her chin even higher, but the confidence on her face quickly froze, because I looked at her with open disdain before immediately turning back to Anna. I swallowed nervously and grabbed Anna's hand. You're really my girlfriend now. Anna naturally intertwined her fingers with mine. The warm golden light inside the car spilled across her face, coating her in a honey-colored glow. George, I've actually liked you for a long time. I was afraid that if you got me too easily, you wouldn't cherish me, so I deliberately kept you waiting. Just now, I was really scared Willow would take you away again. Anna's cheeks were bright red. The scent of jasmine lingered around her. My heart wouldn't stop pounding. She'd liked me all this time. Unlike Willow, who had always kept me around as a backup plan. As I leaned over to fasten Anna's seatbelt, a sudden impulse hit me. Looking at her beautiful profile, I couldn't resist. I quickly kissed her on the cheek. Anna narrowed her eyes. Well, you've kissed me now, so you'd better take responsibility. Absolutely. I nodded so enthusiastically that I could barely stop grinning. I looked ridiculous, but before my excitement could settle, we arrived at our destination. The car door opened, yet Anna suddenly clung to my arm, her face burning red, refusing to get out. I secretly loved how clingy she was being. After all, clingy girls were adorable. I gently pinched her cheek. We're here. But Anna looked up at me awkwardly, her expression full of embarrassment. George, I think my period started. I immediately crouched down beside her. Does it hurt badly? I'll take you to the hospital. Anna quickly shook her head. No, I'll be fine after taking some painkillers and drinking hot water. It's just my period. Why are you so nervous? Then she hesitated. It's just, I think I might have stained your car. I replied instinctively. Don't worry, a dirty car can always be washed. Don't be mad. I mean, don't worry. How could I not be nervous? Whenever Willow got her period, no matter how carefully I looked after her, she'd always find something to get angry about. The water was too hot, the water was too cold, and sooner or later she'd end up taking it out on me. Anna suddenly grew quiet. She looked at me thoughtfully, as if she had finally realized where my excessive nervousness came from. A moment later, she smiled softly. George, her voice was gentle. I'm not the type of person who lashes out at others just because I have period cramps. Having emotions doesn't mean you can't control them, and cramps aren't a free pass to treat people badly. Besides, my cramps aren't your fault. I survived before I had a boyfriend. I'm not suddenly incapable of handling them now that I do. I froze. Something seemed to lightly strike my heart. I pulled Anna into a tighter embrace. Thanks, Willow, and special thanks for generously introducing me to such a dream girlfriend. Chapter 15. By the time Anna and I arrived at the restaurant, we were already running late. The group immediately started teasing us. Anna, who's this? I smiled and kept putting food onto Anna's plate. She just focused on eating and didn't answer. I got anxious and nudged her. Hey, say something. Anna tilted her head. Why are you so impatient? Boyfriend. She deliberately dragged out the last word, her eyes sparkling with amusement. The entire table erupted into cheers. Meanwhile, I suddenly felt embarrassed and buried my head in my food. Then a familiar voice sounded above us. Anna, mind if we join you? The question was directed at Anna, but Willow's gloomy gaze was fixed firmly on me. She had actually followed us here. Standing beside her, Makoto looked thoroughly annoyed. Neither of them seemed to have come with good intentions. I expected Anna to refuse. Instead, she smiled elegantly. What are you saying, Willow? Of course I don't mind. That was what she said. Yet she immediately stood up and switched seats with me, placing herself squarely between Willow and me. Willow watched the entire process coldly. Her lower lip was nearly bitten white. Several times during the meal, she ignored Makoto's hints that they should leave. Then a waiter approached. The dish he ordered, would you like it spicy or non-spicy? Before I could answer, two voices spoke at the exact same time. Non-spicy. Spicy. The first was Anna. The second was Willow. Their eyes met briefly before separating again. Willow rolled her eyes and sneered. Sorry, but George loves spicy food. He's never ordered anything mild. Back in middle school, he even ate so much spicy food that he ended up with gastritis. I was the one who took care of him then. She glanced at me before fixing her gaze on Anna. But I guess you wouldn't know that. You weren't part of our lives back then. Gio and I have countless memories you'll never know about. Oh, A professional pick-me had entered the battlefield. The next second, Anna wrapped her arm around mine and smiled sweetly. Then she fired back. Sorry, Willow. George only ate spicy food because you liked spicy food. He was accommodating your preferences. How do you not realize that? You knew he had gastritis, yet you never figured out he couldn't actually handle spicy food. You've known him for years and still don't understand his health. No wonder people always say childhood friend romances lose to unexpected love. Direct hit. This person is a pretentious coquette too. I immediately chose the non-spicy option. My position couldn't have been clearer. Willow's fingers tightened around her water glass until her knuckles turned white. Maintaining her composure was becoming increasingly difficult. She looked like she was using every ounce of self-control she had left. What I couldn't understand was this. Why did Willow harbor such intense hostility toward Anna? And why was she so determined to sit at our table in the first place? Chapter 16. After dinner, I drove Anna back. Just as we were about to get into the car, Willow grabbed the door and asked coldly, "Are you taking her to a hotel?" Her face was frosty. When she met my furious glare, she pressed her lips together and continued in a chilly tone. "Aren't you? There are plenty of hotels around here." I laughed. "Sounds like you're pretty familiar with the area. Guess you've spent quite a bit of time checking into hotels with people." I slammed the car door shut. Bang. It almost caught Willow's hand. In the rearview mirror, I saw her shouting, "George, you've really gotten bold. Don't regret abandoning me." I looked at the road ahead and sighed. Willow had been trying way too hard to make herself the center of my attention lately. Anna glanced at me, feeling sorry for her. What? I looked at her in confusion. She sounded unhappy. "You feel bad for her." This time, it wasn't a question. It was a statement. No. While waiting at a red light, I reached over and took her hand, absent-mindedly playing with her fingers. "Pretty. Very pretty. I don't feel sorry for her." Then I let out a dramatic sigh. "I just think she's really annoying." It was amazing. There had actually come a day when I found Willow annoying. Chapter 17. The next day, I waited for Anna so we could have lunch together. Students flowed across campus in waves. A guy covered in tattoos was walking through the crowd with a cigarette dangling from his fingers, completely unconcerned about bumping into people. "Watch out." The moment Anna stepped outside, the cigarette accidentally brushed her arm. "Hey." I immediately exploded with anger and started after the guy, but Anna grabbed me. "It's okay. I'm fine. Let's go get sweet and sour pork today." "Okay." "No. We're going to the campus clinic first," I insisted. The school doctor dug up some ointment for us. A few minutes later, he stepped out to use the restroom. I started applying the ointment to Anna's arm. Then an idea suddenly crossed my mind. I glanced around, making sure nobody was watching. Then I pulled the white privacy curtain closed around us. When I turned back, Anna was sitting on the examination bed, supporting herself with both hands behind her. A playful smile curved her lips. She watched me with obvious amusement. I swallowed, then leaned forward and lightly brushed a kiss across her lips before immediately retreating. Anna frowned. "That's it." The next second, she hooked an arm around my neck and kissed me. I instantly became nervous. Swallowing hard, I whispered, "Don't mess around. This is the school clinic." Anna leaned against me. My heart was practically trying to escape my chest. Then she murmured softly, "For a second there, I thought you were planning something much bolder. If this is all you're going to do, you don't need to close the curtain next time." Just then, footsteps sounded outside. Seeing that she was about to continue talking, I quickly whispered, "Shoo," and pressed a brief kiss to her lips. A moment later, the footsteps faded away. Anna lightly patted my chest. I stood up and pulled the curtain open, then froze. Standing there was Willow, and her expression was darker than the bottom of a burnt pot. Chapter 18. What exactly were you two doing behind that curtain? Every single word Willow spoke seemed squeezed through clenched teeth. Unfortunately for me, I was in the middle of straightening my collar, and Anna's face was still flushed from holding her breath. Together, we looked exactly like two people who had just done something suspicious. Willow pointed at Anna furiously. "You shameless woman, what did you two do?" Anna remained perfectly calm. "Whatever George and I do isn't something we need to report to you." The tension instantly became palpable. The two women glared at each other. Lately, they'd been exchanging hostile stares far too often. Worried another fight might break out, I hurriedly stepped between them. Just then, the school doctor returned. "What's going on here?" Willow shoved me hard, then turned and stormed away. But after only a few steps, she suddenly stopped, as if she'd completely lost control. She grabbed my sleeve and demanded, "You touched her. How could you touch her?" Before I could answer, Anna slapped her across the face, then sneered, "You're in no position to be jealous. As far as I remember, I'm George's girlfriend. You're not even an ex, so what exactly gives you the right to compete with me?" Honestly, why did Willow keep provoking her? The slap clearly pushed Willow over the edge. She raised her hand to strike back, but I caught her wrist and stepped in front of Anna. Enough. Willow stared at me in disbelief. You're protecting her? Her eyes reddened instantly, like a trapped animal desperately trying to escape. George, we grew up together. You're protecting her? Then what about everything we've shared all these years? My ears were starting to hurt, so I cut her off. Willow, I only have one question. Why are you here today? Willow stammered, running a hand through her hair in frustration. Finally, she bit her lip and spoke. I don't know. I just don't want you to be with another woman. I realize that every time I see you with someone else, I get so jealous I can barely breathe. I think I've always liked you. You were just always there. I got so used to having you beside me that I forgot what it felt like to fall for you. Ever since I saw you with another girl, I haven't felt right. She looked at me pitifully, eyes full of pleading. Heh. I let out a cold laugh, then raised my hand as if I wanted to slap her too. Anna immediately grabbed my arm. Don't stop me. I'm not. Anna replied calmly. I'll do it. Without a second of hesitation. Smack. Willow got slapped again. This one hit so hard that she stumbled to the ground. I crouched down in front of her, then said slowly, Willow, I realized you liked me long before you did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been the emergency contact in your phone. But here's the problem. I don't like you, and I don't plan on putting you in line and waiting your turn. As for me, I've always only seen you as a sister. Willow's eyes widened. Tears instantly spilled down her cheeks. Then she covered her face. Soft sobs escaped through her fingers. I stood up, but suddenly my vision darkened and my body swayed. Fortunately, Anna caught me before I fell. She rolled her eyes. You fragile college boy. You should spend more time exercising with the grandmas and grandpas at the park. I laughed. Enough trash talk. What do you want for lunch? Willow watched the two of them walk away hand in hand, their backs gradually disappearing into the distance. She slammed her fist against the ground in agony. Why had she realized so late that she liked George?